Welcome to the Hottest Wellness Podcast. I've got time with Cherry ShaKayla.
Here we discuss personal growth, relationships, and healing to become aligned with the best version of ourselves.
Hey, you all.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, you too?
Pushing it.
Well, you guys, as you can see, we have a special guest this week. This is our first guest of season 6. I'm so excited to have my cousin Imani back.
6 is my favorite number.
Really?
3 is my favorite number, but 6 is second.
We be lying. If you guys remember Imani, her and her husband Tyler came on our episode. What is it, like, why did I get married or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So, she's here with us again, and before we get into anything, we want to brace you guys with a trigger warning. Because today we are doing a murder mystery episode, so there are going to see some things that may be triggering to you that could be possibly like traumatic or something to experience that you had, and so yeah.
Respectfully,
Murder mystery.
cover your ears.
How y'all feeling today?
I feel excellent. I feel glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here too. I'm like so
Yeah.
excited. How you feeling, baby?
I feel good, playing it cool. Thinking about what I'm going to eat after this.
What you want to eat?
I don't know.
You be saying I'm thinking about what am I gonna eat, but I really don't think you be thinking about it, because like, what is it, like just fast food places just like running past your mind, but
Well,
like you can't decide on any of them?
I just think about like what different things taste like and what I would like to taste.
Like, what you in the mood for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to move in a little bit more, money.
I feel like I'm here.
You do?
I do.
All right. I'm feeling good. I'm chilling. I'm so glad that my family's here. I never get to spend that much amount of time with your kids.
That's
and
true.
like, that hurts my heart because Monty's like literally my third child. And so,
Which is a weird relationship because I'm like your third kid, but like we was like low key married when I lived here. But then like
it was weird.
it was a weird relationship.
We
Like,
said that before. Our relationship is definitely strange, but it's normal to
Yeah.
us, and that's all that matters.
I don't even think to explain it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You think we family? You think we in a throuple? I mean it.
Well,
Just to be clear, me and my cousin have never had sexual relations. In my Bill Clinton voice, I did not have sexual relations.
Respectfully,
with that
I
woman.
feel like as a black person, I should not have to say that. This is not Sweet Home Alabama.
I feel like you never know, and just because we said throuple and like we used to be married,
Just gotta make it clear.
Throuple, relationship, cousins, it's all a blur.
This is the internet. People take
That
stuff
doesn't
and run
make
with
it
it a
better.
million ways.
You
anywho.
have to take it and run with it.
Does anybody have anything they want to get off their chest this week?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm good.
You good too?
My brain is firing off. Off my chest personally, or just like
Yeah, you personally.
me personally. The dysphoria wars. I'm tired of them. I can't keep getting on Twitter and y'all worried about who paying half the bill. And also marriage roles. I just don't feel like it's 2023. I just don't feel like that should be a thing. And also half of y'all are not in relationships, so why are we talking in hypothetical scenarios? You've quite literally not been invited on a date in years. Why do you care who pays half? And I just don't mean that disrespectfully, but I mean that in the sense of let's be real with ourselves and think about the problems you actually face. Do you have food in your refrigerator? That's something you could tweet about. Damn, I'm poor. Go fund me. But I feel like we have to stop just wanting to be a part of something and just kind of be. You'll find your tribe by being in the lane you in. That's been on my chest. I'm so sorry.
I'm glad you got that off.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I agree with everything you said. It's nothing we haven't said before, for sure.
Stress me out. Sorry.
Don't let these niggas on the internet stress you out. You know what I'm saying? Because they will. They absolutely will. That just reminded me. Let me. Do not disturb.
Please don't.
Well, y'all know I gotta get something off my chest. This week, Cherry sent me a post from Complex, and it says the Wakanda Forever star, which I'm loosely saying star because I feel like out of all the people in the franchise, this is the one we're not gonna call a star. What's his name? Tanash Huerta was accused of sexual assault. And this is like the 5th person I feel like in the last 3 months in some type of franchise that have been accused of sexual assault or something like it, or just being harmful towards women in general. Yeah. And it's just like, now I've complained about this before, how like as a makeup artist I can't like just get a job on a movie set because you have to be like inside of a guild or like what do they call them, like you know what I'm talking about, like where it be like they protect you and like make sure that
like a union?
Yeah, union. Okay. So I would have to be a part of something like that in order for me to get those certain type of jobs. And the same thing goes for actors. They're like in all kind of actors guilds and like, you know, actors unions and stuff. And they have to do certain things to get in that. But like, where's the background checks? Where is the let me make sure this person hasn't committed any federal crimes?
Respectfully. I just kind of feel like at the same time, I'm not saying that he did or did not do what he's been accused of doing, but I just find it really strange how, and I do understand that, you know, no, as a matter of fact, I don't understand. I don't understand how you hear like this situation with him and then you hear the situation with my man from Creed. And then you hear these situations and the face that you always see is a brown person. I feel like the fact that, what's his name? Ezra has mad counts of heinous crimes against him and he's still acting. They haven't pulled his contract. They haven't postponed his movie. And I feel like they have the complexion for protection where they can commit all of these atrocities and their face is not the face of abuse or sexual assault. But he just started his acting career. As with old boy from Creed, yeah, he's been in other stuff, but that was their big motion pictures. And we're taking that away from them before we know if they're guilty or not. And I just have to think about the fact of, I have a black son. He's not even just a black son. I'm not going to say I just have a black son, but I have a dark skinned black son. So if he make it in whatever career he choose, he not only had to work 3 times as hard to get there, but he only have to make one mistake to lose everything. And I just don't think that that's fair or appropriate to just assume guilt because he looks like somebody that would do that. And I don't like that. And it makes me uncomfortable because it's like, when I read his apology briefly, not only does he have tens of thousands of people saying he wouldn't do something like that, but when he explains it and sort of like realistically as a human, I was with somebody, I dated somebody, she never accused me of these things until after we broke up and this happened. It's like that. I've heard girls being vengeful like that. And I'm not blaming women at all. At the end of the day, men call us crazy when we are right. They gaslight us all the time. And people believe them because women are emotional. So again, I'm not saying that this is true or didn't happen, but looking from a realistic point of view of being where we're from, he's not from nothing, you know? It's like you hear about dudes who finally get a good job and here come old shorty put him on child support. Now she ain't wanted nothing to do with him till he got this job. So it's like when it was expressing himself, it's like ain't nobody hearing that. And that breaks my heart because he could be 100% telling his truth. I didn't hurt her when I was with her. It ain't 7 girls coming up and saying I did this. It's 1 girl that I dated coming up and saying I assaulted her.
I feel like though all it takes is one. And I think that I hear what you're saying, especially like, you know, we've been saying a lot lately about protecting brown and black men and just like advocating for them and creating safe spaces for them. But the amount of men who commit these type of things, I feel like we can't even let one slip through the cracks and saying maybe he didn't do it. Let's find out if he did it for sure. Like, I agree with you. Maybe his whole contract shouldn't be pulled, but let's not give him no more jobs until we know for sure.
Yeah.
If to clear his name or whatever, because everything ain't always it ain't either always. It ain't always like somebody definitely committed a crime or didn't commit the crime. Like with the whole Meg Thee Stallion situation. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like all the time, the whole time people were saying, let's give Tory the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he did it. I don't think he did it. And then turns out he did that shit. You know what I mean? And so I feel like he do need to be held accountable to a certain extent, just like the other dude from Creed. Like, I don't even remember his name. Sorry, y'all. But
Jonathan Major.
Yes, Jonathan Major. So sorry for calling him man from Creed.
I mean, I feel like all it take, like, if is one person to say they felt unsafe around you, and we don't know what was happening in the ins and out of his relationships. I'll tell you one thing. I've been in an abusive relationship, and I didn't know until years later that I was being abused. I was existing in that relationship, and I'm pretty sure that person, if I called them abuser right now, they would be like, what? I'm not an abuser. You never said I was abusing you when we was together. But they was. I was being abused emotionally, verbally, financially. And so, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that the lines can be blurred, especially when it comes to, it's not outright like he caught her in the alley. It was like they were in a relationship. And those lines do, I think, can get blurred. You know, it could be something as simple as she said she wasn't in the mood, but then she felt coerced too. So it's like, did he flat out pin her on the bed? No. But at the end of the day, she felt in that moment she was violated, and he did not. He felt like they was just in a relationship, and okay, she finally agreed to have sex, finally. Like, so I can see like that point of view as well. What do you think, Cherry?
You the consent queen. I feel like you should have something to say about it.
I am the consent queen.
Put me in my place, Cherry.
I mean, because everything that y'all are saying is like, all of these things can be true. It's like, we don't know, and honestly, even with the justice system, we still never know if somebody actually did something or not. So, I think my only issue with it is just stopping somebody from being able to provide for their family, like the whole not giving them a job until we know whether or not he did it.
He can get other jobs. He just can't be the star of a franchise. I feel like that's ridiculous. Now it's kids wearing him as costumes and all this kind of stuff. And I feel like that's where it's like, no. Because this is a huge franchise. You know what I'm saying? When you get brought on to a franchise like this that could have another 10 movies if they wanted to, they need to make sure, and that's like where my grievance is coming in, is that they need to make sure that they are casting these people and they are legitimately not fucking criminals. Like, that's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously in this situation, I didn't even know the full details that you said about like it being his girlfriend and somebody that he was in a relationship with. All I knew was he was accused, and at that point, how come y'all are the last ones to find out about it? You know, like, why are we finding out about this at the same time as you?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's irresponsible on their part, because they do make big movies, they create big stars, and those stars gain influence, and they have the power to impact people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think like what you're saying is true. I think, but a lot of the times they don't. Like, we see a lot of Nepo babies. I feel like there's an increase in, like, known Nepo babies. Because I think a lot of times, like, it was, like, hidden. Like, you found out later Angelina Jolie was a Nepo baby. And was like, but she's so good at it. So it's like, I feel like before they was kind of, like, not mentioning it. Because they knew, like, everybody else would kind of be like, well, is this a conspiracy? Like, my dream to be an actress not going to come true because they hiring their daughters. So it's like, I feel like that's something they kind of kept on the DL until rather recently. Where it's like, I feel like Gen Z, they be like, my daddy Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be a star of this show. So you're going to watch it for that very reason. So I think that now we just kind of see that they really bred these people. These people never made mistakes, at least that we would know about, because they literally had a PR team since they was 10. So I think that's when you take like Jonathan Majors, and I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try to because that's disrespectful. But they were from the gutter. They actually didn't have a PR team. So the mistakes that they made, and Jonathan Major's mistake technically happened live. This was after he was already a star. This happened in a car on some Icatino shit. So that happened live too. So that's put to the side, because technically outside of that, it does seem like he does have a pretty clean record. He hasn't been accused of anything that we know of. Other than that, and then his situation, it was his ex. So I don't think there's no way for them to have known that he did that, because that was between the two of them.
Yeah.
So I feel like, but other than that, I feel like a lot of times when it is people like us, like if any of us take off, y'all would have a hard time. My PR team would be working overtime.
Mine's gonna be scrubbing the internet. Like, you said what?
Why would you say that in 2012?
Listen, they're gonna be scrubbing the ground like Amigo. Okay.
So sorry. I do apologize. My apologies. I did not mean to say that. But and times change, things change, and what's acceptable now was not acceptable, and what was acceptable is not acceptable. So I think that obviously abuse in any form was never acceptable. Yeah. Of course, not saying that, but just as far as any mistakes that we made that we don't really see as mistakes when we was 16, we chalked because we didn't have a PR team when we was 16. So.
I mean, that's just like another thing that go into privilege, and that goes like what you said at the beginning of the conversation. It's just like white people are afforded a lot more mistakes or mess ups, or they allowed to experience life freely without it being held against them later.
Yeah.
And that sucks, but it also doesn't mean that black and brown people should be able to do whatever the fuck they want to. That just means white people need to be held accountable. But the thing is that we hold each other accountable in certain spaces that white people do not.
Yeah.
They give each other 1,000,000 passes.
Woo, I will say I feel like as black people we hold each other a little bit more accountable now as far as like the younger generations, but
oh no, definitely not the older generations.
Uncle Esther,
they're to sweep it under the rug.
Yeah,
type all
so
day.
that kind of stuff where it's like that's in every community. Don't nobody. It's like, oh, you're racist. For white people, you know, you're racist, so, and I'm a liberal, so I'm not gonna talk to my granddad. That's one thing, but in our community, it was like, Uncle Esther, you gotta wear a turtleneck and sweatpants, and stay in out of the room with him. Mm-hmm. But he's still coming to the barbecue.
Yeah, that's another conversation on another day, child. Like, for real.
That's wild.
Well, y'all want to get into the affirmation of the week?
Let's do it.
This week's affirmation is, I am safe in my body.
Y'all go ahead and start that off for me.
This affirmation is really to just ground yourself. You know, sometimes we be having anxiety, or even sometimes when we get triggered when we talk about things like murder or sexual assault or just any type of physical abuse. You know, that can be triggering depending on what experiences that we done had in life. And so this affirmation is just to ground yourself and let you know that you are safe in your body. Where you are right now, you are safe. And if you're not, please remove yourself or get some help. We can't help you. We on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you want to tell everybody what our main topic is today?
Well, I feel like you kind of told them. This week, we're talking about murder. Unsolved murder.
Yes. So this was Monty's idea. Her and Tyler love listening to murder mystery. Like, I've never not listened to not one murder mystery podcast. So I hope we're doing this right, honestly. We're doing it.
We're doing it right because we're doing it authentically.
Period.
We're doing it right.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm getting the hang of this.
Monty is literally a star. I'm just like waiting for her to realize it. So if y'all want to drop in the comments like IMG management, some type of modeling, like
don't cry about my tweets from 2012.
You gotta scrub your tweets, man.
I've tried, and I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if I take off today or tomorrow. Niggas a part of my category. That's me.
I feel the same way.
That's it. I'll be in interviews saying
I feel like niggas fine. It's just like, what else are you saying? That's the
hard ER sometimes. Oh, so don't cry about that either. That's a joke in the inner black community, you know.
Yeah.
So
it's some stuff that I'm not willing to explain because I know it's not offensive. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's some stuff that I'm just not gonna explain, or I'm gonna explain it once or twice, and then it's like, don't talk to me about this no more. Like the whole cowboy hat situation. You know, we're still getting ate up in the comments because people were saying I was being a culture appropriator.
By what?
Like, because I was wearing a cowboy hat.
Oh, that's stupid. So the original cowboys were black.
Thank you.
When have white men ever called themselves boy? Has that been a thing?
Well, first of all, before cowboy was a word, it was native people because they herded cattle. But then white people came in and almost killed every last cattle you could think of. That's a whole nother story, but Google it. You know what I'm saying? Just so that native people wouldn't have access to food and the supplies and the furs that they provided to keep them warm in the winter. They was doing it to control and manipulate
So
them.
basically what's happening to us now,
I mean, it's
but
been,
back then.
yeah, I mean, pretty much, yeah.
Because,
So,
I mean, food deserts.
it literally that.
So.
And, you know what I'm saying? Once they decided they're going to take over this herding cattle and horses, then what are they going to do? They're not going to do the work. That's hard fucking work, being a cowboy, which is really not what y'all think it is, which is roping around and being
And
in a
shooting
contest.
guns. Like, that's...
And being on the rodeo, that's like really not what cowboy is at all. We're talking about like actually shoveling
hard labor.
cow and horse shit and like caring for them and all that stuff. Like that's really what it is. And it was something that was indigenous, and then it was something that they taught to Mexican people who are also indigenous. Mexican people are indigenous because Mexico was America at one point. It was the entire California, Texas, Arizona, and more states. And then once the enslaved black people took over the job, they were known as cowboys. Before that, they was known as vaqueros. And so if you are not indigenous, if you are not Mexican, if you are not black, then you probably were not
a cowboy.
An original cowboy. And so for you to say that I'm cosplaying or I am being some type of like offensive person is just fucking ridiculous, because only my ancestors would have participated in that, not yours. And that's the last time we're gonna
talk about it.
Yeah, that's the last time I'm gonna explain it. So we all chose 3 different murders that we wanted to discuss, and we're going to decide on one of them live here in color. I wish we had like one of those. You remember back in the day when people would call in and vote on American Idol?
Text now 877-42.
Which murder mystery do you want to hear today?
Standard text message rates might apply.
I feel like between me and Imani talking so much, Cherry's gonna be so quiet.
I'm so sorry. I'm a
okay
talkative person.
I'm okay with that.
But you can
No,
interrupt
you're
me.
not okay with that. So, baby, who'd you pick?
I picked the notorious B.I.G., also known as the King of New York.
I thought you was gonna say his government name, child.
I did too.
Well, also known as Christopher Wallace.
Oh, what a name.
Whenever I hear his name in my voice, the voice in my head is his mother, like Christopher Wallace.
Really? I was thinking like when you said Christopher Wallace, I was thinking like
That was the worst
old-timey,
Jamaican
like
accent
George
ever.
Washington.
We're gonna.
What's his mom?
Don't do it again. Don't do it again.
Y'all know what his mom sound like. Don't be funny. No.
I actually didn't know.
You didn't ever hear his mom speak? After this, you are gonna die laughing.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so the notorious B.I.G., as a lot of you know, he was a rapper, a very talented rapper. After his first album was released, titled Ready to Die, a couple weeks before his second album was going to release, called Life After Death. He was at an industry party, and they were leaving the party. He got in his truck, in the passenger seat. I want to say Diddy was in the truck in front, and there was another truck, which there was a police officer in that truck. They start driving. They get to a red light. An Impala pulls up. Shots fired. Biggie's dead. Yeah. And nobody knows who did it. Some people think that Suge Knight had something to do with it as some form of retaliation for Tupac's death, because this was also 6 months after Tupac got shot.
Not to mention they was all sending death threats back and forth to each other. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was also during the whole East Coast, West Coast beef. It was a lot going on. It really wasn't safe for niggas to be out there. Some people think that the police did it. Some people think that
It was his own management.
it was his own management.
Sometimes people worth more dead than they is alive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever seen that show, Who the Bleep Did I Marry, or like them shows, you be seeing those people on there, they be like more dead than they alive,
Yeah.
and then they be getting killed by their partners. Like, that'd be crazy.
That's dead. That's why I never live my life. I don't do it on purpose, but I'm also glad that I don't come off as a ray of sunshine. I'm the first ones to go. She lit up a room. She's dead. So
No, because honestly, wherever you find somebody who is a light in people's lives, there's always going to be somebody standing right to the left,
wanting to dim
giving
it.
them the evil eye.
They want to dim it. They
Yeah.
want to dim that light.
Wishing that they was them, wishing that people loved them the way that they did, and yeah,
They
I could
say-
see that totally being a thing.
Evil lives forever and the good die young. That's just specific. Just basically to get from that message, it's just be the worst you could be. Then you'll live forever.
Absolutely not.
No.
I've said this before in like one of my TikToks, and I've never said this point, but like what I believe is that the universe is expanding. Like, say this is not a timeline, but the universe is expanding at all times. And say this is the high vibration energy, this is the low vibration energy. As much as we make the vibration higher, the low vibration is also going to continue to expand in the other direction. So although we be thinking it's so much bad in the world, there's just as much good in the world. It's just based on your perception and like what you are choosing to see as good around you. And then if you don't see it as good, then you're in that side of the spectrum where the bad is just getting badder, and then you start to manifest bad stuff into your life. Not saying that anybody deserves bad things or anything, but like when you start to think about stuff a lot, when you start to like talk about it a lot, like you'll eventually manifest it into your life too. So, you know, that's why I don't even think about haters. Like, I don't think I got one hater. Like, it's probably not true, but that's what I believe. Like, who's hating on me? Like, that's ridiculous. I'm so nice and cool.
Yeah, nah. I mean, I had a couple people, but
There's a couple people that might want to get you. So, who did you pick, Money?
I chose a man named Ronald Owens or Roland Owens. That's what he checked into the hotel as. We don't know if that was his real name or not because this happened in like the 1920s, 1930s. So take that with a grain of salt. A lot of people was just allowed to use fake names because who the f- was gonna check it and what was they gonna check it against? So
Like, did they even have IDs back then?
I don't think so.
No.
I think they just went by a family name. So, you know, like in the country, they'd be like, oh, the Townsends live over there. So they would just go by, that's Larry Townsend. And everybody knew because everybody knew.
Yeah.
So, again, that's what he checked into the hotel as. It was in Kentucky of all. Or no, I'm so sorry.
Missouri.
Kansas, Missouri. So it was in Missouri of all places. So that probably was not his name. But he checked in to what was that hotel?
The
Presidential Hotel, which
Which
is like
is-
a Hilton or something.
It's
now.
not a Hilton.
It's like a Hilton now, which somebody bought that.
It says Hilton Presidential
That's
Hotel.
crazy. But so Shay actually found out that the comments, a lot of people are saying that it's haunted. I didn't know that when I picked it. I just
You know, some people, they're like ghost hunters in the sense that they like go looking for ghosts, and people will go stay at certain hotels. So like one of the comments I seen, the girl, she was like looking for that experience. She was like, yeah, the hallway was like long and dim and dark and scary and like I wanted it to be, but then she said the hotel room was dirty. So like, don't go there, don't book it with them.
ew.
Yeah.
If you do, just get an Airbnb in the area and just go to the hotel at night.
Like,
Investigate and go home. But so basically he checked into a hotel. He was sketchy from jump. Like he had said that his friends was coming later. To this day, no staff from that time, which again, this is from the 1920s, 1930s, so not a lot of people alive to tell. But from what they got and in that moment, there seemed to have been a bellboy and a maid who who were in this room interchangeably a lot. And so whenever they would go into his room, it was never another person there, but people next door could hear other people in there, to the point that one lady reported it was a party going on at 10 o'clock at night. Again, they never saw anybody actually in that room, but they heard multiple conversations, multiple voices, yelling and screaming at one point, a lady and a man. Like, it just was a lot of discrepancies that they kind of all remember vaguely, but again, early 1900s, so you know. And so basically he checked into this hotel. He only kept one lamp on the whole time. His room was pitch black dark outside of that whenever they would go into there. And basically, just the quick summary is that no matter how many times they went into the room empty, except him. When they kind of checked on him, a thing that I kind of visioned in my head, because I didn't watch any like reenactions of this story, but every time they went into the room, it seemed like he was getting progressively worse. Mm-hmm. He started out fully clothed on the bed in a suit. Checked on him again later. He was half dressed, saying he wasn't hungry, on the phone to somebody named Don, who they never met this Don. Next time they went in there, he was face down. He appeared drunk, naked in the bed. And then the next time they go back in there, he's dead. He's in fetal position, holding his head. His head is bashed in. Trigger warning. This is what that was for. He has cords around him, like he got choked out. He got stabbed in his chest. It punctured a lung. I mean, this man was tortured. But keep in mind, people heard partying. They didn't hear screams of terror. So if he was tortured, it was quiet, because nobody said there's a murder going on next door. You know, stabbing somebody in the lung, you would scream. You know, like you would try to at the very least. So I don't know.
That definitely sounds paranormal.
Very passionate about this story, because what?
Ain't no way he was sneaking all them people in the back door like, party tonight. Like,
but y'all could come in one at a time.
I know it was the 30s, but like, come on now.
I actually didn't even look what it looked like in the 20s. I'm sure it don't look like the Hilton now.
But the building is still the same. You know what I'm saying? The building is the same. I seen old pictures and new pictures, and the building look how the building look. You know what I'm saying? It's like a big ass square building, and it's a lot of rooms from the top to the bottom. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many floors, but somebody in the review said stay away from the 13th floor. I don't know what they got to do.
That's weird, because his room was what, 1046, so it would have been on the 10th floor.
But so yeah, I mean, it probably was multiple things happening in that hotel. And mind you, this is the 30s.
I thought hotels didn't have 13 floors. This is the time when
people can where'd you hear that at?
I thought hotels didn't have 13 floors because it was like bad luck for hotels to have 13 floors.
No, hotels be having 13 floors.
Really?
Mad floors.
Yeah.
I know they have a lot of floors, but I always thought that they would like
just
skip 13.
it? Oh no, they don't be skipping it. No, they don't. But weird stuff do be happening on 13th floor. I think that's like literally like, we don't have to get into it, but like the 13th number is supposedly like, you know, it's like almost, I don't want to say like a portal or like a
like
doorway.
A dimensional doorway.
Right.
Interdimensional
to certain things, to certain entities. And so
I could stand behind that.
You know, you could put that with 3:33 in the morning, and next thing you know, you're getting haunted on 13th floor, my nigga. So the story that I chose was ShaKayla Robinson. I feel like everybody kind of knows about this one because it's kind of recent. She went on a vacation with some friends to Mexico, and she never returned. What happened was, honestly, based off of the evidence, I feel like she was beat to death, and the police have not charged anybody. They've made the statement that they will not be charging anybody. And basically, she went on a trip with friends, and she turned up dead, and her friends came back from the trip and reported she was dead. Did not bring her body back with her or anything. And so that left her family to scramble trying to figure out what happened. Of course, what they said happened was different than what was on the autopsy. And on the autopsy, obviously, she had sustained injuries to her neck and her back, which was her cause of death. And they was trying to say that her cause of death was alcohol poisoning, which it wasn't. She wasn't even intoxicated at all. And so I wanted to discuss this one because although we know what happened to her, there has still been no resolution in the case, and there won't be no resolution because they chose not to further investigate. When I feel like there is one person who should be charged.
Yeah, I agree.
So, what story do y'all want to go into detail about? Like, what do y'all want to like actually learn more about for real? You know, like what makes you feel interested? Everybody got to put in their vote.
Y'all go first.
Not. We got a Libra and a Gemini. This is gonna take all day.
No, it really is. I'm so sorry. All right.
You gotta pick one. We literally been planning this for months. Like, you can't pick your own. You gotta pick.
If I had to pick between Biggie and
ShaKayla,
I don't know. I feel like I would probably choose Biggie, but only because with ShaKayla's, that's all I'm gonna get is the video I got and their testimonies. Like, it's no way for me to truly dig deeper. There aren't that many witnesses other than the people who have just been exonerated of their crimes. So it's kind of like I can't really say more than what's being said on the matter. Because, I mean, I can replay that video as many times as I want to, which I can't because I don't like seeing stuff like that. But that's not going to tell me a new version of the story that I haven't heard before. Yeah, we know that the murderer was in that room. We know it probably was the girl that was hurting her.
Yeah.
But it's like, ultimately, it's like, I would have to reach for the conspiracy of, did the cartel get involved, and that's why they stopped the investigation, to actually have back and forth dialogue about it, if that makes sense.
I don't think it had nothing to do with the cartel at all. I don't think so at all. I think it was just a case of one girl honestly really being jealous of another one. Because literally they had a whole physical altercation, but ShaKayla wasn't fighting back. She literally was just on the ground in fetal position getting her ass beat. And like, I watch Bones a lot. Do you used
love Bones.
Love Bones. And you know, I be learning stuff from that show. Like, you can learn a lot from that show. And when you think about the time of death, they said she died like 15 minutes before, like, you know, within her injuries, her sustaining her injury, she died within 15 minutes of that. And so, obviously, yeah. But I agree with what you're saying, because it's like, kind of, we know what we know, and they're just choosing not to press charges, which is fucked up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel like in situations like that,
yeah, go ahead.
I feel like in situations like that, everybody should be charged. If you standing there watching and letting it happen, you should be charged.
I agree.
If you standing there recording it, you should be charged. Obviously, if you the person that did it, you should be charged.
Yeah.
I agree. Why are y'all just letting somebody just get beat up like that?
I agree, because I feel like smut is illegal. You can't record yourself, you know, hurting people. So how can you sit there and be a bystander? It's the bystander effect, essentially. But I feel like, how can you sit there and record something you could stop? I mean, it was like 3 dudes in that room. Y'all can't restrain one woman. So I do agree. Y'all had the strength and the means to stop the situation and didn't, because it was more entertaining to watch it go on. People are entertained by all types of sick things that they go to jail for. That should be added to the list.
And
I
then
agree.
You never know. Like, I've been in situations too where it was like a group thing or whatever, and I felt very isolated from the group. Or just like, you know, even though it never escalated to something like a physical altercation, if the amount of people that not really vibing with you outweigh the amount of people that is, or sometimes people invite somebody on a trip just because they want to have somebody that they feel better than or cuter than.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
Whatever the thing is.
That's so weird.
And
it's weird,
but it's definitely a thing. It's a thing. It's definitely a thing. There's girls who hang out with girls that they think they better than or cuter than just because it make them feel better on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I've heard people say the most harmful things, most fat phobic stuff, like, having a fat friend just because they know that more guys are going to be attracted to them than a fat friend. And it's like, first of all, big girls be pulling niggas. That's the first thing.
They really do.
And I've never seen an ugly big bitch.
You know what? Let me be completely honest.
I've never seen one. They have the most pretty, beautiful faces.
No, they do. 100%. And always the longest, thickest, healthiest hair. Which hair don't grow if you, for real, it really don't be growing unless you healthy. So, some in that diet healthy. So, shout out. Because I do love that shit.
I do love it.
I ain't never seen, I agree. I've never seen it. So.
I don't normally quote Drake, but I like my girls BBW.
Period. I mean, it's definitely something there. I mean, you have whole entire tribes in parts of Africa who the bigger you are, the more desirable you are. So I think the fact that we're not desiring a certain body type is just because we just been conditioned not to. And I'm not saying us in general, but I'm saying just like, because it's always been a plus in the black community to be thicker. So I think that it is just the fact that America's culture is the skinnier you are, the healthier you are, even though bitches are throwing up in the bathroom after every meal. So, I mean, so I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't not like big women because you don't like big women. You don't like big women because you've been told not to like big women.
Yeah.
They've always existed. Them Greek women, them wasn't size 1 women. Them statues y'all see, them girls had rolls, honey. And men were making them out of marble. So clearly big bitches ain't never been a problem. It's been this thought of the more malnourished you are, the better you are. And it's like, that's because your country is fucking poisoning your food. Obviously they don't want you to be like, I'm supposed to be bigger than this. Why am I not bigger than this? Girl, because you're sick. You're sick and they're telling you it's beautiful. So
listen, this, that's another story. All the time we talk about like beauty standards and stuff like that in America. One, they're not meant to fit people of color anyways,
ever,
and so that's why we shouldn't be applying them to people of color. We shouldn't be black as fuck and then thinking about how white people see us. That's weird to me.
That's weird.
It's so anti-black. It's ridiculous.
I definitely care more about what black women think of me. I don't care what black men think because, again, they crave something I'm not. But as far as black women, just not even on a romantic level, but just like if a black woman walk past me and be like, your hair look cute, I know my motherfucking hair look cute. She ain't just saying that. And I'm happy for the rest of the day. You can't tell me absolutely nothing. So, but it's like, if a white woman say my hair cute, this shit could be grown out. I could have fucking cotton balls hanging off the bottom of them. That means nothing to me. Because they be like, love the hair. Yeah. And it look a mess. So.
Like literally an ongoing joke right now on TikTok about how like white men love a black girl with a bad wig.
You hear me?
There's nothing more that a rich white man love is a black girl with a bad wig, child.
I'm telling you, you gotta look like you straight off this fucking production of a Tyler Perry film. And he wants you. He wants you bad. Like
it's ridiculous. It's like they don't have like anything to go from of what's like a good hair and a toe up.
I don't get it because you really will see some bad black women, middle part bust down, fresh out the salon. Is she just too unapproachable? Like, is that intimidating?
This is crazy because remember I sent you that clip or whatever. I ain't gonna name the podcast because this is nothing I want y'all to go see. Don't ever even look this place up. Okay, I don't know who this white dude is, but apparently he's half black, which makes it even worse. Cause you got a whole black ass daddy, and this is the stuff that you're spewing on the internet.
Oh,
he looks white. Nothing about him. You would never guess that he had a black daddy. Okay, and he over here talking with another black man, and they talking about I guess being attracted to black women, but he essentially says that he cannot really fuck with black girls because they intimidate him sexually. He said black girls fuck back. That's the first thing.
Okay.
And what else did he say, baby? He was saying stuff that was borderline harmful. The black girls fucking back, that was the funny part. Mm-hmm. But the other part he was saying is it just seemed like he was making us sexual objects. Like, which
we have been since the beginning of the Atlantic slave trade.
Yeah. So. And it was weird. He was like, like basically that black women are intimidating and stuff, and it's just like I don't understand it, but I I don't understand it, but I understand it in the fact that I've experienced it around white people. Like, literally with my job that I quit. It was almost half of the staff, I knew that they was intimidated by me. You know what I mean? And it was just like, literally, I ain't give no reason to be intimidated. I'm like one of those people at work that's way different than they is in real life or whatever, in the sense that I was like so bubbly, so happy all the time, like smiling all the time, just making people feel good about themselves. And so it's so weird that you will be intimidated by me. Like, why? It's because I'm amazing, and you see that as
but
something
that's a given.
you're not. Yeah,
that's a given.
But
I also just feel like our work ethic is different because it's that whole work twice as hard to get half of what they got. And I think that when you put us in an environment where everybody is pretty much laxed or nepotism, then it's like, oh, I actually got to do my job now. It's better to just get rid of you than to actually have to do your job.
Oh, girl, now you're speaking on something. Period. It's so easy. I feel like for sure that my boss was starting to do things to escalate me to make me want to quit because she ain't have no valuable reason to fire me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this was already after I put in a month's notice. It was like, girl,
which is wild.
Let me get these last 2 weeks out and live your life.
Because with me, you get how long? I live in Ohio. Ohio is a what state?
At will.
Okay. And I'm an at-will quitter. I will quit on the spot. You will never hear it coming. You will never see it coming because you already got somebody who could fill my position lined up, their resume in the fucking fax machine, getting ready to get sent over to HR right now. So why should I stress about giving you a warning when if you about to fire me, are you going to give me a warning? No, you going to let me work the whole day and then tell me at the end, I could have been using that day to find a new job. But you waited to the end of the day to tell me I'm not coming back. No. You'll find out when I'm at home. I'm gonna text you. Listen, I will not be coming back.
Let's be clear. The 1 month's notice was for me. I was trying to get a couple extra weeks of checks because we got vacations coming up, my baby birthday coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like the month notice was for me. It was so that I can have a month to build up my clientele with Full Moon Beauty, and she knew that.
And it was basically like a do it or change.
Yeah.
So I get that 100%. I was just saying as far as like. Fuck that.
I think I'm gonna actually vote for Biggie too, because after like discussing the ShaKayla Robinson a little bit, I feel like
yeah.
I need you to lean this way.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. I feel like you need to be more in. Like,
booty cheek.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, that's way better. Okay, so
I feel like that was all the details.
Then that's 2 out of 3. So that's really all we needed.
Biggie. Okay. That's the majority.
Now you screaming.
Now you're under pressure. Now you're on the spot. Now it's time to talk, Cherry.
He's like, what happened in the case? What happened?
I mean, that was pretty much the details.
So I think at this point, since there's so many conspiracy theories on who did it, let's just all admit who we personally think did it.
Really? I don't think I can admit because I don't want to something bad to happen to me personally. Like, I know y'all think this is like all games, ha ha he he, but like some people really do be coming after people and stuff like that. And
they
like,
do.
I'm gonna be famous or whatever.
They do.
So I can't say who I thought it is, but what I will say is that I think it was his management. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
Personally.
And who do you think? Vaguely.
This is all alleged.
I mean, obviously, I'm not a detective.
We don't have the proof.
What's your opinion?
This is gonna sound like a cop out, kinda, but I think that everybody was involved. I think his management was involved. I think that there may have been an agreement between the management and the
like a 2 birds 1 stone sort of deal. Like they all got something out of it.
And I think that the West Coast group
was in collaboration with the police.
I think everybody had something to do with it.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
What you think?
I don't know. Now that I'm hearing that, it's like low key Truman Showy. I would say prior to this revelation, I would have probably went. I think it was an artist that was big at that time. I feel like y'all know who I'm talking about. I personally feel like that this artist was behind this and a lot of other atrocities. So yeah.
Yeah. A couple of people involved are known for doing very terrible things to people.
Yeah. And have the access to cover it up or whatever.
Yeah.
Have the access to work with law enforcement, possibly pay them off, cover up details. And this was the 90s. So, like, even though they had, like, some technology, it's definitely not what it was today or whatever. And it also was, like, not in the fact of, like, people getting involved in the case and stuff. Like, say if this detective got this case, that detective got this case, and if he closed it, it's closed.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, nowadays, like, we can hold more people accountable. We can, like, keep calling our legislation. We could be like, we want to know what's happening with this case. Like, you know, they didn't do that then. 100%. It was like that was it.
100%.
I kind of want to talk a little bit, I guess, like, about the details of the murder, though, because, like, that's what the murder mysteries do, right?
They do the both. They kind of come to their own kind of conclusions of all the outcomes of who could have possibly done it, the fact that it hasn't been, you know, ruled on officially, and the detail of the case leading up to that.
But I thought somebody actually was charged in his murder. Am I making that up?
I'm gonna say yes.
Yes,
because the whole thing is they couldn't figure out who was actually involved. They couldn't, when the Impala pulled off, allegedly the cop that was in the other truck went after it, but he couldn't catch up, so they didn't even catch.
Okay, it said that they did accuse several people, but
nobody was officially.
Nobody was even arrested at all.
So I think that kind of low key. I think because, like y'all said, it was the 90s. Anybody could have done it. It was one of those whodunit situations where literally a fucking person who had no idea who was even in that car could have done it. You know? So, with all that being said, with it being such a conspiracy and no arrests being made, it's so crazy to me because it's like I low-key feel like if it was a big cover up, you pay somebody to take the fall. Like with any of those situations, they have some random person who didn't like Nipsey.
Oh hell yeah.
Like, let's be fucking for real. That was a payoff. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. So like I feel like, especially within the 90s, with it not being no proof whatsoever, they could have literally found somebody who really needed the money and been like, just say you did this, your life ain't going nowhere anyway. Might as well get a big paycheck for your family. And the fact that they didn't even do that
make me feel like the police wasn't as involved as we think it is, because then that's when like the payoffs really come into place. You know what I'm saying? Because now they're like going through certain things to make sure that this person gets charged or whatever.
Well, I mean, you know, there's always the way that our culture is set up.
Don't
don't see anything anyway.
Don't snitch.
You know? Yeah. I'm not about to say that I saw there was a white truck that went in between Big's car and the car that the cop was in. So that could have been like a distraction or just to make sure that they couldn't get to him. Because Diddy's car went through the light, so it was just...
Yeah.
His
I don't know. There. I think that that's true. I think that the fact nobody was paid off and the fact that even if somebody did witness it, they was either made to shut up or just stood by black loyalty code of we don't snitch, which is harmful. But at the same time, I definitely 100% understand why that's always been a thing that's been passed down to us. Because at one point, you know, I mean, you still can't trust law enforcement. But at one point, there was at least no cameras and no social media to post your interactions with them. So it was like, don't call them to this neighborhood. Don't snitch. Because they'll shoot this whole block up and then say that we was rioting. So
yeah, a lot of people even say like it was retaliation between like him and Tupac because they had like their own individual beef going on. You know, like after Tupac had got shot in New York, then Big dropped the song "Who Shot Ya,"
which was wild.
The beef was crazy back then.
That was one of my favorite disses on other than my favorite diss is No Vaseline by Ice Cube, but that's second for sure.
First of all, I've never even heard it, but the fact that it's called No Vaseline has me sick.
Oh, he went crazy. I think Eazy-E might have called it the worst. You know, rest in peace to your boy. Well, you know, who knows what type of person he was behind closed doors. But ultimately, you know, the fact that Ice Cube to this day don't regret putting that album out. I mean, that this track out.
He was
meant
very valid
everything
in his feelings,
he said.
though, because I mean, this is so off track, but they in the 90s and 2000s, people in the music industry was stealing so much money from their artists. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Waxed.
So I feel like anything that man said on that record was valid.
He was coming hard, and I can really appreciate that because you know how many people try to get him canceled for No Vaseline because he said a lot of derogatory things, but at the end of the day, time period for one, and then for two, he meant that with his chest. You can't take, like, we look at art and be like, oh, this is a woman getting murdered, but I shouldn't say anything bad about it because it's art. Just because it's on a picture. So that's his art. That's his music. Don't say shit about it. That's how he felt. That's his art, and that's the picture he painted at the time that he was living in. That man had a wife and kids. They took his money. I would have been in there throwing shots. Y'all would have been mad. I'd have been your mama.
I kind of was wondering, like, even if the intent was to kill him or was like, so like when I was like looking up the details of it, you know, he got shot inside the car. He wasn't pronounced dead at the scene. He wasn't pronounced dead until they was at Mount Sinai Hospital. And his injuries though was his left forearm and his back left thigh. And like depending on where you get shot at in your arm or your thigh, that could not even be fatal. But I think it was fatal because of his weight. His income with his weight and the injuries and amount of blood that he lost. Yeah. That's how he died.
It could have been something as simple as his blood not clotting appropriately.
Yeah. And so even though his death was from being shot or whatever like that or whatever, it was, I feel like it was a combination also of his pre-existing conditions too that caused the death. And so maybe when they shot up his car, they was trying to scare him or injure him but not kill him.
Was it just Biggie in the car?
No, it wasn't just him.
Who was supposed in the car?
Let me think.
I forgot the guy's name.
Was it like security or?
Not really. It was his niggas. It was his camp.
Yeah, like, cause it was more than one car. It was like his car. Behind his car was like Diddy, and somebody else was in that car.
Diddy was in the car in front.
He was in the car in front of theirs, and then it was Biggie's car who was in the car. One other person who was like a part of his crew.
Let me get.
I think it was two other people in the car.
Because I find like, I think from a civilian point of view, especially like a non-famous civilian's point of view, we always think that the target is the famous person, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes that's just a distraction.
I think he absolutely was the target.
Do you?
They say it was Lil C's in the car. That's what they say. Lil C's was in the car.
Wasn't somebody else driving though? It don't matter.
Okay, this is crazy, but in 2017, the car that Biggie was shot in was sold for $1.5 million.
And who bought it?
Girl, you probably somebody white. Because who else would get off on that? A 1997 GMC Suburban. The car was bought at a public auction. It don't say who the buyer is, y'all.
Yeah, so if it don't say,
yeah,
go with the color of the article.
Yeah. So,
I don't know. Sometimes in my head, like I do think about stuff like that, like how sometimes the target is not the person you think was the target. It was just the best way to describe, to like hide what you did. Like if me personally, like, you know, if let's say like I have a personal beef with somebody, but I know that they got like a famous cousin. If I don't want to get caught, I would definitely attack them when they was with their more famous counterpart, because A, everyone's going to think it's about them, especially if it's during a controversial time in their life. And B, they're going to be so focused on finding out that person's enemies and who would want to hurt them. They're not even going to think about, well, who would want to hurt the other person in the car. So I personally, if I just in the in the mind of a murderer, I would definitely, if you was hanging out with somebody who was more famous than you, I would definitely wait till you was with that person to take you out, because that's the easiest way to get away with a crime. No one's literally ever going to suspect I did this.
Yeah. I honestly think it could have been people that was like somehow was like gang related in a sense or whatever, like they needed to get some stripes. And with all of the East Coast West Coast beef going on, like very publicly they was saying fuck the West Coast, fuck the West Coast, and then they bring their raggedy asses, like no shade and rest in peace to Biggie, like you know, I'm not dogging them on a personal level, but like why the fuck would you be doing all that shit, talking all that shit, and then would literally be in the hood in LA? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy to me. Like, you be thinking that you're so big and you got this security, or like nobody, you're so untouchable, but like you we're literally not. We're not indestructible. You know what I'm saying? And so it could have very well just been that. Like, they could have been rolling down the street and be like, that's that nigga Big. Wasn't he just talking all that shit? I'm about to get
like an outside person.
Yeah, I'm about to get like so much street cred from this, and literally shot up the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could have definitely been something like that, and it could have been something like on some gang shit of people that fuck with Tupac in LA and was like, Tupac just got killed 6 months ago. We think it was Biggie's people who did it, because there was a lot of speculation with that, and they was like, we're gonna get him back.
Facts.
And they did.
That's why the thing with unsolved mysteries are just so, I think, addictive, because we all have that main character syndrome and we all kind of want to be right. So conspiracy theories and the fact that they haven't been solved yet, it's just a way for us to be like, I'm right. I've solved this and nobody else gets it but me. So I think that's why we all do have different opinions, and it's good because it's good for dialogue.
Yeah.
And we'll never know unless, you know, it was for street cred and that person is on death row now, and then they pop out and be like, you know what, I'm on death row. I did it. I shot him. So I did it for street cred, and now I'm in jail, so it really don't matter. So we might, and honestly, the craziest part to think about it is life is so weird that the person who actually shot him could have died the next day. And so we will never know who did it. So
yeah, that's very well true. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes like stuff be getting handled in the streets, if you know what I mean.
Street
like,
justice.
if you from the hood, then you know, like, they might never see justice in a courtroom, but trust and believe that some sort of justice was made, whether it was their cousin, their mama, their grandma, them personally. And they would, like, basically the police would never know that this is the person that committed the crime, and now they were retaliated against. Like, you would never know. LA is so big. Like,
yeah,
you never know for sure. So I guess like that's what we can come to our conclusion with that.
Everybody did it.
Everybody. If y'all like, we can move into mental health matters. So Imani, this is our segment where we kind of just like give them some advice, or just like speak about something that is bringing awareness to mental health, especially to the Black community. Okay. Cherry, since this was your case, what advice do you have for our listeners? Like, what can they take away from this like unsolved mystery?
Well, with this, I want to bring attention to Biggie's lyrics, even the name of his albums. His first album, Ready to Die. Pretty straightforward with that one. But that whole album is filled with depression, struggle, suicidal thoughts. That's actually the name of one of his songs on the album. And so when it came to his second album, which is called Life After Death, I feel like
TJ,
I want to bring attention to speaking things into existence. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. That's what I believe. So the things that you say, they're gonna come to fruition in some way. And I feel like he literally spoke his death into existence.
Manifested.
And even the celebration after his death with his second album, Life After Death, because he died before that album came out. So
yeah, I vividly remember. I agree with that notion for sure. I support that. I feel like definitely be careful what it is that you're saying and speaking into your life. Even like little stuff that we say when we be talking like, I'm dead. Like, that is one of my favorite things that I be saying, and I be like trying to unprogram myself because it's like one of my best go-tos, because that's something we like literally say like all the time. It's like, I'm so weak, I'm so dead, but it's like, are you know what I'm saying, like what am I manifesting in my life by saying that? You know. And that's something that we definitely need to think about and be aware of. I seen a TikTok not that long ago, and this girl was saying how like one day she was joking with her brother, and she was like, what if you just like died or something? This was the last time I seen you, and like that was the last time she seen her brother.
I think I saw that. That was
like,
That's unfortunate.
Don't do that.
My mom be saying stuff like that all the time.
Like, don't wish that on me. And like, if this is the last time you see me, it's because your ass dead, not me. Don't be wishing that on me.
Yeah,
but for real though,
I got
it's
kids
like
to raise.
manifesting your own demise. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I could see that. That's
So
true.
yeah, that's so true.
so yeah, be mindful about what you're saying. Stop saying I'm dead or all that other shit.
Yeah.
Cause
Don't say laughing my fucking ass off, because your ass really might fall off.
might end up like Shorty on She's Gotta Have It.
Oh my god.
Just fall off the stage and it's all gone.
Don't do that.
Yeah. That's nasty.
I can believe that now.
Yeah.
I can believe that.
Well, we can move into the breaks. I really don't have any new music this week because I wasn't focused on that. But we can do the music of the week. What are you guys listening to this week? Are you listening to anything?
I keep revisiting Meg's mixtapes.
Which one?
They really get me through. Specifically, Tina Snow.
That's your favorite.
Oh my goodness.
I visit
That's one
that
of my faves.
all the time. I was listening to it this morning. It just really gets me going. And, you know, just reminds me that I am that girl. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been hitting up my Let 'Em Know playlist since I've been going to the gym and the poppin' playlist. But, yeah.
What you listen to, Money?
I've been pretty much, hate to say it, but I've been listening to Megan. I've been listening to specifically the album Traumatized, though.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is it like Traumazine? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Traumazine.
Yeah.
I like the name of that album, but I honestly didn't get into it. Maybe I need to dub back.
I was listening to it at first, like obviously when you first start listening, she is one of my favorite rappers, but just like when you're listening to one of your favorite rappers, you're just trying to get through the album to hear every single song. So like, you know, so I think you just listening for like, oh yeah, this fire. You're not really listening to like the words that are coming out of her mouth. And I think that when I actually listen to it on a particularly bad day, I listen to Anxiety. And when I listened to it, I was like, I am too a bad bitch, and I do have bad anxiety sometimes. So I think that when I actually listened to the words she was saying, I identify with this album more than I identify with obviously previous albums, because I'm not, you know, I'm not a city girl. I'm married. And I'm not
married too.
I'm not saying that they're not, but what I'm saying is I don't live that life of getting flued out, and I don't live that life of, I don't identify with that. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, especially if you're 20 like me. You should be doing those things. I settled down too early. But I think that since I don't live that life, I was just listening to like, oh, this is fire. But this is the first time I actually listened to an album and I did identify with the songs. And I was like, damn, I feel that.
Yeah.
Is Anxiety the song she be like Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday? Bad bitches have bad days too. Oh yeah, I do like that song.
So I think when I listen to that, and just like her saying, like sometimes she just really want to talk to somebody, but she don't have nobody who to talk to who would actually, like everybody, like she's naming these women off in the song, and all the women she lists are dead. And I think it's because it's like she feels like in her mind space, the only people that can relate are the people who are literally dead. Like, so, and that's a real fucked up place to be at. And I think people hear that and they're like, oh, it rhymed. But just the fact that when you really just break that down and you think the only women she relate to are already succumbed to their you know, the whatever it was, whether it be, you know, overdosing, which she admitted in that song, she can't even handle certain drugs. She don't have no escape. She can't even handle smoking weed. So it's like she don't, it's not that she out here, that's why she drinks so much. And she even low-key saying she about to calm that down, because it's not leading a productive life like she wanted. It's putting her in these fucked up situations. So it's like she don't have nowhere to go like how we might relax. And then she don't have nobody she trusts to talk to. And the only women who have been in the spotlight and had these death threats and had these people calling them a liar and had just gone through this are already dead from it. So it's like she in this dark place where it's like, damn, is death better, like, and that's a fucked up spot to be in. And I think that the song itself, although it is under anxiety, anxiety is very closely coupled with depression. And I think that if you really listen to that, you realize Megan, when she wrote this album, she was depressed, like, you know. And I think that all of us have been depressed at some point. And I think that this album really is not just her trying to hop back on the scene. Like, this really was her baby. I think the other songs were obviously her babies, but they was more to get you, you know, popping. But this is the first time where she's went through something so traumatic since her mother's death, where she really put her heart into the music. So whether it's received well or not, that's a good ass album.
Yeah, it is a really good album. I feel like people didn't gravitate towards it because
it wasn't upbeat. I mean, it's some upbeat songs. I
don't think that's it. I think it's the sound, because it still has that Houston sound. Like, the music is very Houston, and I think people just aren't into that.
Right, into like more pop rap.
Yeah,
you think?
Yeah. I think it was mostly that, and then I think that it was around the time that she dropped the album too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like albums hit different in different seasons. Like, right now, that album was coming back and around because it's like warming up, and to me, like, Meg is a summertime girl. Like, whenever I'm playing her music, it's probably summertime. You know, so
that's fair.
Yeah, I feel that.
That's fair. I do think it didn't take off as much too, like, even coupled with what y'all saying, but I do feel like it is more heavy material, and people use music to escape those feelings, not to dive head into them.
Except unless you're me, because I be in it.
I just realized that I'm that person with this album. This was my awakening album, where I was like, oh, I probably should listen to music with more substance.
Yeah, no, because I definitely feel that, like, but I be needing that because I won't allow myself to go those emotional places any other time. So I be needing music to get me to that vibration, so I can release certain stuff or process certain emotions that I otherwise would be sweeping under the rug and keep going about my day and my life. And so I love that. I'm definitely going to dub back on that, like, now that you gave me this whole, like, new, you know, perspective.
Just find your song and just kind of listen to it a couple times. I think the album itself is very, very good after that. In my opinion,
it's good. It's a good album.
Yeah,
but I do love Tina Snow.
Yeah, Tina Snow's a banger. And I love the just the cover of the album, because it's like giving
my gosh, it's so pretty,
so cute. She's got on the silver. It's like, yes, bitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that.
Well, since we all talk about Megan Thee Stallion, I know that you guys have probably already covered everything and stuff, but wasn't it really awkward not hating her and seeing everybody hate her online?
I didn't understand why people was hating her, and I honestly felt like it was just men. I don't know if that was me.
I feel like it was mainly men, but I also, with every man, there's two pick-me's, because it's more women than men. So you have to do the math. So it really was a lot of women.
I don't understand it though. Like, why?
I don't understand it, because just like what we were saying at the beginning of the podcast about, like, you know, women and essay and stuff like that, it's so weird to me, because even if you've never been in a situation where you've been assaulted in any type of way, you probably know somebody, you probably got a cousin, a sister, or a friend, and I just don't understand how women can lack empathy for other women. We know how dangerous it is for us. So even if there are 5 out of 10 chances that the girl is lying or not telling the truth, there's still the other 5 out of 10 chances that a man did do something to hurt her, which in my opinion is more probable, because men don't understand consent. They don't understand it at all. They did think a no is a okay and a maybe. They think if they don't understand that coercion is also rape. And so with all of those things, plus the patriarchy and misogyny, I'm automatically going to lean towards the woman is probably telling the truth. So,
and not even that, but just even to bring race into it, black women are just not the most believable of people. Not saying we are not, but I'm saying as far as like the world, nobody believes us until it happens and it comes into, you know, reality, and everybody was like, we never saw this coming, and it's like we quite literally said that this was already happening to us.
But that's literally every day. That's literally every day. So it's like the video with me wearing the cowboy hat, the one that's been going the most viral. Every day there's another black woman in the comments trying to debunk what I'm saying, and I feel like that gets me more upset than the racist comments, than white people who just refuse to understand what it is I'm saying. But the fact that it's literally black women trying to debunk what I'm saying, like, you literally don't understand as a black woman what it means to be discriminated against, is wild.
Yeah.
And even if you don't understand that, why are you not supporting me as my sister? That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
No, I agree.
The music I've been listening to this week is the High Maintenance playlist on Apple Music. It's like literally a bad bitch playlist, and they update it like every week with the new songs, and so that's why I've been leaning towards it more than my own playlist, because they have the new music that's coming out. And like we talked about a lot of the new music on the last episode. Glorilla dropping new songs, Maya the Don dropping new music. Everybody's dropping, and honestly, black women specifically black rappers, we are
Doja Cat dropped today, right?
Did it drop today?
She said 6/16. Did she not?
Oh yes, she did.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna have to check.
It's my
out.
birthday twin. Do you guys have celebrity birthday twins?
Kobe Bryant is my celebrity
Kobe
birthday
Bryant.
twin, which is so magical.
It is very magical. It's a magical number.
I don't know if anybody has the same birthday.
I feel like somebody has to have your
Somebody
birthday
has
6/6. Somebody's out here like 6/6. Like you definitely got a birthday
Hopefully
twin.
they're not.
I don't know. I feel like
It's a lot of people that are Geminis, and I take pride in that.
You shouldn't.
well, my husband's birthday is 6/7.
I feel like you can only speak for yourself as a Gemini. So
I take pride in
well, while you
in
Google
the
that-
genius that comes with being a Gemini.
I share a birthday with Kim Kardashian, Amber Rose, 2 of Kanye West's ex. So that's scary as hell.
That's scary.
Kim
I could never see you with
Kardashian,
Kanye.
Amber. Well, my husband was born a day before Kanye West. So, I'm sorry. Yeah, a day before Kanye West.
Not Carol Baskin, honey.
I know that's right.
No.
Oh wait, okay, so wait. Kim Kardashian, Amber Rose.
Oh, The Rock.
Oh, The Rock. That's like one of my favorite people ever.
That's so
my
is
God.
Imani too.
my guy.
Cherry, she loved The Rock.
I love The Rock.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we twinning right now. I love
I'm
him
meant
so
for
much.
greatness.
So you have The Rock
That's all I
and
need,
Carol
honestly.
Baskin. There's always balance.
Honestly, because you know how Geminis is like 2 different people, and it's really giving like Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin is wild.
Which you know they did find her husband. That lady did not kill that man.
Oh, I'm
so
glad.
Where did they find him? That alleged. That's
no, he's came out. He's out here. He ran away from home and tried to live a new life. That's what he was doing.
I would be so mad if my wife being in a show ruined my escape.
Literally.
I would be so pissed off by that.
And he's like, damn, I guess I'm going to have to come out of here now. And
Like,
tell
I really
everybody I'm
got
not
away.
dead
I got away
before
with
she
it.
go to jail.
Yeah.
I would have sent her to jail.
I wouldn't
ain't
have
gonna
came
lie.
out
I
because
would've
he
let
left for a reason.
I would have let her go to jail.
yeah. I don't think I would have.
See, y'all think I'm a villain. Y'all think I'm a
That's
villain.
not ruining
But look at
my
y'all.
high.
I didn't say I would let my wife go to jail, but Carol Baskin, she could rot in prison. She's done something
She's
illegal.
that. Well, them animals.
Okay.
She shouldn't have had them animals. I will say that. Nobody should have tigers.
They should.
Can I just state that? Nobody should have tigers. Why do you have a tiger?
Listen, I'm starting to be that person that felt like even zoos. Like if it's not an animal sanctuary that they literally had to save these. And then how is a whole animal sanctuary in America? I'm not trying to be funny, but ain't no tigers running around here. So y'all literally had
none
to
of these
ship
animals
these niggas
are
over
native
here.
here.
They wouldn't be unsafe if y'all wouldn't stop bringing them over here.
I will
and
say
shit.
my son calls zoos animal jails. We don't go to the zoo.
Damn.
We don't.
honestly,
It's just because of the active
I
bars.
stopped taking my kids to zoos, but I ain't gonna lie, we did go to Zoovies a few weeks ago, which was movie night at the zoo.
How was that?
All we did was watch the movie, you know.
What was it, Lion King?
No, it was some movie with an alligator or a crocodile.
It wasn't even like a pop.
Loud crocodile. That's what it was.
Oh, La. I do like that.
I fell asleep. I was like, my kids was like, "You're not paying
It's
attention."
actually funny. It's pretty funny.
I couldn't get into it. I was like, "Why is he what?" And I was tired of him singing too. It's like, you gotta get me.
It is musical.
I was like, no. And he was giving depression the whole movie.
I mean, nobody was understanding him. They was screaming as soon as they saw him.
I mean, he's an alligator, crocodile, or whatever. Like, what the hell?
Which
Trying
should
to
get
say
more
like Bruno
respect
Mars.
because that's like one of our last dinosaurs. So, more respect to Lyle Crocodile.
Well, you guys, it's the end of the show. Sad to see you go, but at the end of every show, we always set our intention for the next week by saying what we're making time for.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you making time for this week? Do you have an intention? Can you just enjoy your vacation? I mean,
The gym.
oh, the gym.
I'll make
How's your
more time
workout
for the
journey
gym.
going?
It's going. I went on vacation smack dab in the middle of it, and I have been eating, and I have not done not a squat. So, I would say it's balanced. I had a real heavy week, then I had a real bad week. So
It happens.
Yeah. What about you, baby?
I'm going to manage my time a little better.
You feel like time's getting away from you?
I feel like every single day it's getting away. Every day this week I feel like I don't have enough time to do what I actually planned on doing.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, that's mom life though. I feel like your weeks feel a lot different when it's not our week with the kids too.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time as a mom you think you're making plans to do something or you think you have so much time to get something done.
Man.
And then like the reality of your kids being there changes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's what you need to find more balance with. Also, I feel like asking for help or the support that you need so that you don't feel like your time's getting away from you.
Yeah.
I'm here for you, girl.
Yeah. What you making time for?
This week I'm going to make time, I guess to be more professional. I guess like to invest into my business and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to open my Etsy shop back up, but this time I'm like gonna be sticking with the greeting card code for now and like only doing my prints. And I want to like try and start like selling my prints to like local consignment shops and stuff. I already reached out to one, so I'm gonna like this week I'm gonna like spend more time and energy trying to like, you know, get that going, get a couple dollars in my pocket and whatnot. And yeah.
And that's productive. I can
I'm here
appreciate
for that.
So you have to join us because like I'm gonna say without further ado, and then we're gonna say I've got time all together.
Is it how quickly?
I'm gonna say without further ado, and then we're just gonna say it all together, like not quickly, just in a normal, regular voice.
I've got time.
Bye.
Okay.
Well, without further ado, I've got time.
I missed it.